Okay, welcome to this third part of the wooden RopeBridge creation tool. In this section we're going to deal with creating planks out of our log. So we now created a log with proper UVs. So now we're going to create some planks from that whole thing. So how are we going to do this? Well, I'm going to show you a few minutes, and I'm also going to explain about some of the issues or problems that you might encounter with one of them. So first thing is I'm going to place a box, and what I'm going to do over here as well is I'm going to use a cookie. A cookie tool is something which is that you can recognize, for example, in many other tools such as Maya or other ones as being a boolean. You can recognize it over here while I'm moving the whole thing, that you can see how it's being rebuilding the whole geometry. Now in the cookie node you have like all kinds of controllers. For example, you can set it to union, a minus b, all kinds of settings, and immediately, by the way, we see one of the issues or problems that can occur from using booleans. We see over here a polygon not being cut away properly. So there are a few things that you can do. You can keep the shape as it is, and you can start adding some jittering, and the jitter seeds and the amount of jitter might solve this sometimes, but in this case it doesn't solve quite a bit. So I'm going to leave it as what it is for now. Something else that you can do is also make this, instead of a polygon, into a polygon mesh, and so it has like more subdivisions now, and as you can see, this solves it in this case. Good. Now this might work in this case, but there are always going to be cases in which it isn't working, and it's kind of difficult to recognize when it's not actually working or so in a procedural way. So that's one of the disadvantages of using cookie. But let me show first the positive sides on this cookie and what you can do with this. What's really nice about this tool is you can create like all kinds of intersection types, just the traditional ones, but you also have like user defined. And in the user defined you can say exactly which parts that you want to keep. For example, that if you want to have like some kind of an inset cutout, or you want to have something like this, so you can really recombine it with whatever you'd like to have. And so therefore you can create like all kinds of sets. You'll see also over here, assume A is closed, assume B is closed. Probably that is to make it a little bit faster. Now in this case we can do that, of course. Consolidate edges is making sure that all the points are being merged together. So therefore you see also the normals being adjusted. And do jitter, like I said, is being used to make sure that you're gonna have also some possibilities to change the way how this is happening. So when I start using this, you see also like small variations. We have over here the creasing. This means actually that you're going to extract the whole curve in which the cutting takes place. You still can keep the sources, and you can auto join the creases a little bit the same way. It's kind of straightforward on what you have over here. And so you have type, and you have of course the groups being automatically assigned to say which part is in, which part is out, etc. Now the powerful thing of this tool is also that it's going to take over all the attributes of one shape or the other shape. So since we've created UVs now, we can just create, or we can just connect our material to it, and you'll see the material is automatically being applied. because all the UVs and all the attributes have been used over here. So here comes now my next question, and that is the following. I want you to create a plank in an automatic way using the cookie sub, using all the things that you see over here, and it should try and do the following things. And this is something I'm going to show you in a small example right now. So this is what you need to create. It needs to be a cut plank, as we can see over here, and also we are seeing right over here the normal the UVs being applied, and also those UVs are following the structure of the wooden plank. So think of the following. I'm gonna give you a few tips over here. You need to make a copy of the FOBSOP, and you need to be able to make sure that you can adjust the amplitude of that noise that you're applying in 3 directions at the same time, and in 3 different directions, and not in the 3 directions at the same time. Because right now, if you have a good look at it, you're gonna see it's having by default a float value, so one value to control its amplitude, and so you need to make sure that you can do that with 3 values. And amplitude, if you don't know what it exactly means, look it up on the internet. That will help you to get like a little bit of an understanding on what you need to do over here. So we're having this plank over here, and of course we need to create all those UVs on the side parts. We also need to have like different groups for them. So this side and this side, which have been cut, they're gonna get like a different name. And then the last part also is going to be very important. That is that the UVs are really following the shape of the log. So if it is getting distorted, that you have like also these distorted shapes over here. Okay, so how did I approach this? Let me drag in the graph, and we can see the following. So everything which is over here is the new section we're talking about. And so the first thing that I did was I created already for the box, I created an interior group. So we just named the whole box to interior. The other thing has to do with the whole setting and scaling of the box. So what I'll allow to do over here is that you have like a variable size still over here and a variable center in this direction, so that you can vary and play along on where you're gonna grab or take, let's say, that plank. So as you can see over here, we can make like a smaller plank, and we can make sure that we choose also from different parts over here on our log. So you can have like planks which are looking much more as if they're being cut from a log in more than one piece. The axis divisions, well, on the side I don't need any other than just having 2, but over here I took the size, as you can see over here, and multiplied it by 2, and so these are going to control the subdivision. So subdivision is always going to be, as we can see over here, half of a unit. So it's 0.5, 0.5. After that, it was very simple. Again, I used over here the UV projection tool. I just copied it. I just have copied that from somewhere else. Changed the name over here, and also made sure that the rotation was happening a little bit differently. But for the rest, I didn't have to do anything over there. And then I used the FOBSOP. This one is quite important, the FOBSOP. Like I said, you need to make sure that the amplitude is going to be a vector. So I disconnected the amplitude over here, and an amplitude is something which is actually the control over how strong the effect is going to be like. So the power of the effect, and that is something which matches perfectly, of course, with the multiply. So what we've done over here is we just disconnected it over here from turbulence noise. Amplitude by default is set to 1, And now the end result over here, we've multiplied that again with an amplitude, but which is in this case a vector amplitude. And adding that together with the original points is going to give us the deformation that we were looking for. All of that is being brought back into the cookie. It automatically takes all of the UV materials and UV directions over, and so there we have the whole thing with all the separate groups as well, because if we middle click, we see over here 3 primitive groups, and we see all the different types of groups we have. So you can check that also by pressing F5. You see over here all the groups nicely being placed, although they have all different kind of sizes. Now, of course, we have like many other problems, or we have some other problems with that as well. Like I said, was that this system, although it's very easy to use, it's not a very flexible system, or it's not a safe system, that's a better term. Because over here, if we're going to play around with, let's say, the offset of the whole thing, which is going to be a little bit our noise. So we can have like multiple planks, and we can notice that in the latest versions of Houdini, they made it already very stable, much more stable than it was ever before. But still, you don't have like a 100% guarantee that it's gonna work. Sometimes it will fail. Let me just see if I can add it to a frame value. And let's see what the result is going to be like if we start to play it. Right now it seems to do all the booleans pretty well, and it seems to be stable, so that's very nice. But just in case, I'm going to explain to you what else you can do in case it is not working anymore. A few things. I saw in class that some students were having problems, and the fact that they couldn't do a proper selection and so on over here with the vertices. Part of that had to do with that they used a mesh, which is going to give you a problem, as we can see over here. So it's really important that you use polygons instead of a mesh. That's one thing. Okay, so now let's see if we can find another way of cutting the whole thing. And so we can, and therefore we're going to use the clip swap. And with the clip swap, what you can do is it's just going to cut away something, the shape, and you can also turn this, rotate this in all kinds of directions, and you can make like this whole system out of it. So the thing what you can do over here is, let's say we set the direction to -1, and we set it over here to 0, and what you can do is you can keep all the primitives. So like this. Now we see that we have over here a shape which is just being cut, and we can move it through. Now the advantage of this over here, the clip is guaranteed to work. It will work at all times. It will never give you any bug or so whatsoever. So what else can we do? Well, we need to make sure that we're gonna have like this plank-like structure. So first of all, we're gonna create like these two groups with the below plane and with the above plane. Something else we can do is we can add like a transform, because what we want to do is, instead of cutting and throwing one side away, because this is something that you can do as well. Let me just show that over here. So you can group this geometry, you could cut something away, and then you could add a poly cap. Polycap. Where is it? Over here. And this polycap is then going to make sure that you have like a fully enclosed shape. Now the problem with this is as you can see, we have like this one big shape, and it doesn't have like any subdivisions at all. So the thing that you could do, for example, is you could use like a divide node and make sure you triangulate everything, but this is not guaranteed to give you a good result. especially if you're going to start and rotate this whole thing around. This might give you like different kinds of connections, as you can see, so it's dependent on the type of orientation you have as well. So we're not going to go for this system. Let's go for, like I said, we have like two sides, all the primitives. We have like groups being created, and what we can do as well is over here we're gonna take our pivot and we're gonna align our pivot exactly with the origin what we have over here. So I'm going to copy this parameter and I'm going to paste it right over here in the pivot. Paste with relative references. So now the only thing I need to do is, since we are over here in the x-axis, I need to scale it and set it to 0. Of course, for the right group. And so we have then something like this, which as a result, if we take our material, is also going to give you nicely deformed normals and UVs. The additional cool thing is that these UVs are perfectly matching whatever you have over here. Not that it's going to be of any use, but nevertheless, it's kind of cool. And of course you can do the same thing for the other side as well. So you can create a clip up again, and we're not going to clip over here, but we're going to clip on other spots. Let's see, somewhere over here. It's complaining the groups exist. So we do it like this. So again we have like this cutting of the shape, and we can do exactly the same thing. So in this case we're setting it to clip 2, clip 2, clip 2, and we're going to adjust the above plane 2. And so like this we have our plank again. Now there's still an issue that you might see or recognize over here, and that's what we have right in this section. So that's the top part. You see over here it has been cut, but we see some of the things are being completely moved into strange directions, etc. So how can we solve this? Well, there are various ways what you can do. Over here, let's select the top and the bottom. So I'm going to use in the divide node, which has a very powerful function, which is remove shared edges. So removing shared edges is something you can compare to the following. If you have like a grid, let's say that we have like more subdivisions for the grid, what you can do with it is you can remove all the shared edges, and this gives you this kind of result. So all the shared edges have been removed, all the points on the outside are still existing. So that's why it is quite powerful. So we're going to use that right over here. Right now we don't see anything since the log everything is perfectly connected with each other. So we have to do it only on the top and the bottom. So let's check that over here, top, bottom, and this is where we're going to apply it. And as you can see right now, all that geometry has been fully retopologized. Now you can still do the same things as before. What you could do now is making sure that you have, like again, subdivision over here. You can make sure that you adjust over here these points so that they become aligned on a straight line, so that you have like at least the idea that you have like a straight plank. And you will need to again add some UVs to that because of the operation that we done. The whole system has just changed, and it has lost all its vertices connections. So that's the most important thing we see over here. We still see some intersection problems over here. What we can do again with this divide, let's see, I hope that those groups are still existing, but no, they don't exist anymore since they have been replaced. So something else what you can do is you can check what numbering they have. And so in this case, I think since those are the only two new polygons, they're being added as last to the whole row. So again, we can make like a simple group for them. Top, bottom, and we're gonna group over here by $n minus 1 and $n. Let's see if we have the right ones. First one is okay, second one is also okay. So this is also something you can do at all times. So again, no matter how many subdivisions we will have over here, in the detail we will always be able to select the proper one using that selection, as you can see. Now we'll go to the next section, and in that next session I'm going to show you on how you can start manipulating your UVs and combining it with your own texture, so that you will have in the end a log which has like proper looking results.